So in...
Just switch the microphone on.
Oh. So between America and Mexico, there's always a lot of problems with smuggling. And one day there was an American agent there, like the border policeman on the border. And he was doing his usual job. And then a guy came up from the Mexican side, just on a bike, with a sack over his shoulder. And so the border policeman said, so stop and open the sack. So he opened the sack and there was just sand in the sack. So the border policeman said, all right, you can go on into America. So he went off. And then about 3 days later, he came up again from Mexico on his bike with a sack, another sack. So the policeman stopped him again and said, I want to look in your sack, and he looked in the sack. And there was just sand in it, so he said, all right, go on. This went on for about 4 or 5 weeks, maybe twice a week. This guy just rode up and we had a sack of sand, and that was it. And the policeman couldn't understand this, so he had about 3 days off. And he went over to the Mexican side, this policeman, and he was just drinking in a bar, having a drink in the bar. And then this guy came in to the bar. And so the policeman went over to him and said, oh, come and have a drink, I know you, come and have a drink. So he gave him a drink, and they were chatting about things that men talk about, like sex and football. Mainly sex. And then he said to this guy, look, I know who you are, I know you, because I'm a border policeman, and you've been coming by, on your bike with a sack of sand. It's always just a sack of sand, and I don't understand what that's about. And I don't know why, but I've got a funny feeling that you're smuggling something, But now I'm your friend, we've had a drink together, so please, I'm so curious and interested in this. Please, it doesn't matter what you tell me, I won't do anything about it, but I must know there's something you're smuggling. You bring your bike in with a bag of sand, and there's just sand in it. What are you smuggling? He said, bicycles. And what I like about that is that in a way it's obvious that he was riding a different bike every time over the border. The guy didn't click that the bike had anything to do with it. He was always looking in the... And what I like about that is that it's about something that's very obvious, and yet in another way, with a perception of looking in a bag of sand, it's sort of hidden. And that's what this message is. This message is absolutely obvious, but it's obscure if you are looking for something else, and that's the difficulty. That's the dilemma of seeking. The message is really basically saying all there is what is. All there is this. That's obvious. All there is what is. There can't be anything other than what is happening. All there is what is happening. That's obvious. So what's happening? Breathing, sitting on a chair is happening. Hearing a voice, any voice is happening. Feeling warm is happening. Thinking might be happening. And basically, those things are just arising. All of those things that I've just described are arising out of no thing, and are just what they are. That is what is. What is what's happening. But what also happens is the sense of being separate from what's happening. So what can arise is a sense of awareness of breathing, awareness of a sound, something that knows its thinking, something that knows its feeling, something that is apart from what's happening. And that is the dilemma or that is the reality for the me. The me lives in an artificial reality in which everything that happens to the me is apart from it, is separate from it. And that brings a sense of loss, it brings a sense of incompleteness. And so seeking arises out of that incompleteness. There's a feeling that there's more to life than being separate from life. And people, try to find the answer to that in all sorts of ways. But what we're sharing here together is that the whole dilemma for the seeker is that the seeker thinks they have to work out the answer to this. The seeker thinks it has to find out what fulfillment is. The seeker thinks it has to break the barrier of being separate from everything. So it tries to do that in all sorts of ways that it is taught, that it thinks of itself. And the difficulty is that because the seeker lives in an artificial reality that is only arising in time and is only arising in a subject-object reality and is only arising in a dual reality, then that is the nature of me, that is the nature of the separate identity, that it is only finite and dualistic. Therefore, there's no possibility that it can ever move beyond that reality and find something else, because that's its function. The function of me is the game of energy arising and appearing as a separate identity looking for wholeness. It's just a game, it's totally meaningless. There's actually no such thing as a separate person. It's just energetic. It's just an energetic contraction that seems to arise in the body and create this seeker that's looking for the answer. And this seeker that is looking for the answer in what is the answer, is looking for something that's hidden when actually what they long to be at one with is absolutely obviously there already, what is. So all there is what is. That is obvious. But it's hidden from the seeker by the seeker's effort to find a something in the whole. The seeker wants to find an answer, so it wants to find a treasure in the whole. And it is the whole that is the treasure. It is the whole that is everything, that is obviously all there is. And when the whole energy of that dualistic, time-orientated, finite dreamer suddenly is no more, then all that's left is everything. All that's left is nothing being everything. And that's what, for want of a better word, I would call liberation. So we can talk about that today and illuminate the dilemma of seeking for that which is obvious.
For me, it's a question that, For me, it's a question why we started to search. Before that, it seems that we were there, where we become after understanding that searching hasn't to be.
Well, directly separation arises and the sense of there being a separate identity, then what comes with it is seeking. The separate me, it can only be seeking. That's its function, to be separate and to seek. There's no reason for that, there's no meaning to it, but that's what seems to happen. And all that me can do constantly is to seek. Even those people who don't even know how to spell the word enlightenment or have no interest in what they would call spiritual seeking, everyone is a seeker. All apparent individuals live in a world of seeking. They may seek other things like wealth and lovers and all of that, but in the end, all desire is the longing to come home. And that can only go on and on until it collapses or is no more.
And some teachers recommend the position of witness, and it seems to be a neutral viewing. But I think you say it's also a reference from the reference point of me.
Yeah, when there was a Tony Parsons that was seeking, one of the things that he or it became aware of sometimes was a sense of something watching it from behind. And it seemed to have an impersonal nature to it. But when the me vanished or was no more, that vanished with it. And in a sense, it's very linked with the idea of an awareness which is impersonal. But it's still actually intrinsically for the me an experience of something happening to it. Even though the watcher or the observer or awareness seems to be impersonal, it still is in the story of experience. So when the experiencer is no more, what also collapses with it is awareness, observation or watching. But all the time there's an idea that that is a pathway to something beyond, then it's adopted as a teaching. It's a method of teaching often called self-inquiry, where the whole the function of awareness, which is part of the me story anyway, is apparently developed and worked upon like a muscle in the arm. So you work on your awareness. There is no one that can do that. The theory is that if you work on your awareness and it becomes bigger and bigger, then although it seems to come and go, one day if you work hard enough it will just stay, and all there will be awareness. But awareness is a function. For awareness to be there, it requires something for it to be aware of. Otherwise, it's not there. And awareness, as far as this is concerned, is the way in which separation is maintained. Separation is maintained through being an apparent subject here that is aware of objects that are apart from it. So awareness is a function of separation. And when the whole separate story collapses or is no more, then what collapses with it is awareness. After liberation, there is nothing that knows it's liberated. There is nothing that is aware of anything. There only is what it is, which can't be described. What can often happen with the teaching of awareness is that people can reach a state of detachment, and that can feel like enlightenment. And there are even teachers that talk about different levels of detachment. And so it's another story about finding somewhere that seems to be better than where you are. But of course all of those things are passing, they come and go. The state of detachment is an experience that the individual has, and so it comes and goes, because essentially it's in a time-orientated reality. So in a time-oriented reality, everything comes and goes. It's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, it's this. And when the detachment goes, and the student goes back to the teacher of self-inquiry, often what is said is, you're not trying hard enough.
Tony? Thoughts?
can we do then not self-inquiry, just accepting?
There's no we.
No we. And what is to do?
There isn't anything to do. There isn't anyone that can do anything, and there isn't anything that needs to be done. This is all there is. So what is what is happening. So what is also what appears to be doing something. So this is doing that. This is what is. But there isn't anything choosing to do that. It's just what's happening. In the illusory individual story, that can happen, and the me will then say, I'm doing this. There isn't anything that does anything. There's only what is.
So also,
including apparent doing. The difficulty with the individual is that they think they have to become better in order to find what they want. That's what they've grown up to believe. You have to be better at school, or be better at your job to get more money or whatever. So you have to be better at self-inquiry to become enlightened. So the whole energy of the seeker is to move forward to a place where they are better than they are now. So obviously the attraction of doing is very powerful for the seeker, because he thinks he can or she can do being better. When I suggest to people that there's nothing that can be done, they then say, oh well, now I'm going to do doing nothing. But doing nothing is still doing something. It's you know, the seeker can't, there's no way that the seeker can recognise that it's this. Because the seeker lives in a world of what will be. So how can it be this? It's got to be later on, or it will be later on, it'll be what's next. It can't be this, it's got to be what's next. What's amazing about what is that it's all-encompassing. What is anything that's happening. Thinking wrong thoughts, what you would think are wrong thoughts, thinking, feeling angry, feeling calm, feeling anything, hearing sounds, whatever is there is what is. And there's no, why would there be any need to do anything about what is if there's just what is? How would you do what is?
so acceptance is also...
No, it's not acceptance. There's nothing that can accept. The me can't accept or surrender or be open to. Again.
So how to live?
Well, you never have known how to live. Living has happened. So it'll go on happening regardless of how you think you should do it. Look, it's happening now. Are you making the blood run around your body? Are you making your nod, the nods that's happening? Are you nodding, or is it just nodding? It's very obvious. It's bicycles. I think one of the other difficulties with the seeker is that the seeker expects there to be something special. Yeah, really, really special, like a spiritual orgasm that is permanent. Or it'll be like the whole world will light up. Or,
Kundalini up.
yeah, Kundalini, and something like that. And therefore the idea that what they're searching for is utterly and completely ordinary doesn't work. Can't be just this. Can't be just sitting on a seat. That's so boring. It's not special. Sitting on a seat is not special.
Yesterday you described that when you look at the floor, you find that amazing. And that is special to me.
Yeah,
You
well,
experience that.
amazing might be a slight... I am a bit of a drama queen. Do you know what a drama queen is? I tend to exaggerate. But it's very interesting that when the me suddenly is no more, it's as though there's a melting back into the whole. It's as though there's something that's separate from the whole. And suddenly when that is no more, it's as though that energy that was separate suddenly melts back into the whole. So there's nothing left here but everything. And there isn't something that now knows that it is at one with everything. That's ridiculous. There isn't something here that knows there's only wholeness. There isn't anything here that knows anything anymore. All there is everything. So the floor is everything. There isn't something here seeing that it's everything. It is everything. It is, if you hear it in another way, this melts back into the unconditional love of everything. So the floor is unconditional love. Flooring. But there isn't anything here that knows that. It just is that. That's why, you know, like, he's not here, there's a German guy that came to one of my meetings. He was walking down the road afterwards, down the road with shops in it. And he was walking down the road, he was still something, and the shops were separate. And then the whole thing went, as I go, beep! But he can't describe that, because there wasn't anything there anymore. There was no one there. There just was wholeness. And when he told me up, he said, I've been listening to you, and I can't describe it to you, and you can't describe it to me. It's the one thing that can't be described. But everything suddenly transforms. Although there's still shops that anyone else would see, there's suddenly wholeness. There's suddenly...
But is the seeker not also a part of the wholeness?
The seeker is also what is. Seeking is what is. Except, and that's lovely to hear, but it's only a concept.
The seeker.
Well, no, the seeker is what is a concept. And it's of no use to the seeker at all.
But it's the
There are
wholeness.
teachers that say, look, all there is wholeness, so seeking is absolutely fine. That's bullshit.
Why?
Because it's an idea. It comes out of an idea.
But it's
The
wholeness.
fact is, the reality is, yes, seeking is wholeness, and therefore, what's wrong with it? Of course, there's nothing wrong with it. But all the time there is a seeker, or there's an experience of seeking, it's not fine, it's awful.
Yeah, but it's also reality.
Okay, so do you, the seeker go around just saying, oh, it's all right, I feel awful, but it is wholeness, so
Yes.
that's all right.
Yeah.
Bullshit. So what you do is you feed yourself constantly every day with a concept to make you feel okay, although you don't feel okay.
But it's
I've got cancer, but you know, I'm not dead yet, so it's absolutely fine.
But is it not also a concept, wholeness and everything is...
Of course, at the level that we're speaking to in words, of course everything is a concept, but there's far more going on in this room than words. If you only listen to the words, then that's where you'll stay stuck.
But you separate also then something.
See?
You separate also something then, if you talk like this.
All words separate. All words are dualistic because they describe subject object. But the words are pointing towards something else. If you only listen to the words, then you're stuck in concept. So. And if you think the concept, the seeking is fine, is enlightenment, then good luck to you.
That's not what I meant.
All right.
Everything's amazing, nobody's happy.
Tony, I think the seeking or longing for it, it's awful. It's really awful feeling. And the first time I saw you in Vienna, and after I saw you, I had this awakening states 2 days ago, many times. But in between, it's awful because you long to it and you don't know how to get it. Because if it's obvious if you're in it, but if you're out, you're still in the same game. And you can't reach it by your will or something.
Yeah.
And this is so difficult that, and I can't stop the longing.
No, because essentially separation is energetic. It's not an idea or a thought or a belief. So concepts will not touch that energy.
No.
But what is beyond those concepts energetically is something else. So in a way, talking like we do is an excuse for something else to happen. But all the time there's an energetic contraction there. It's uncomfortable. And sometimes awful, because there's a longing to be free from that. Which is what I call liberation, for want of a better word. Liberation is the sudden release from the apparent imprisonment of a confined separation, which is energetic.
It's true, and I think it has something to do with a person like you, or also I had the same thing when I was at the Arunachala, same energy, I don't know, when I'm at home and busy, or it thins out after a while, and I don't know why, so I'm coming always.
So it has nothing to do with anyone or anywhere.
Yeah, but I don't know, it happens afterwards, often, after I visited you, after when I'm at the Arunachala, but not by my own.
No. But then now you've decided that, have you? So when you get home tonight, it won't be there anymore.
Yeah, it came suddenly. I mean, like 2 days, 3 days later, in the restaurant, bathroom, I don't know, many places.
Yeah.
And another thing, I was a big dreamer, and I don't dream anymore. Doesn't have something to do with it, or I have no idea, because it's happening since 1 year. This what you call awakening, glimpses. But there's no dream anymore since then.
When you say no dreaming, are you thinking about sleep dreaming?
Yeah, sleep dreaming.
I haven't heard that before. I mean, this message can end all hope and dreaming.
I take it. Okay, it's working. Tell me, when the drop dropped, the eye dropped, is this the same in long, like the glimpses, in always?
Well,
How is it?
The glimpse is usually more dramatic because it's such a contrast to what was before. The initial glimpse of oneness, which nobody has, no one glimpses oneness, there's just oneness. But it always is, in a sense, more of a contrast to what was there before. So afterwards, when the I is no more, that never seems as dramatic as that initial glimpse, because the light has now entered the darkness, or the apparent darkness, and there's less apparent darkness. When the whole thing collapses, there's just light. But it never seems, when I've talked to people about it and my own experience, that it was as dramatic. It is as dramatic. In a sense, it's much more ordinary. Yeah. That final collapse thing.
Yeah, I had it 3 days, and the third day it was orderly,
Yeah, well,
or,
same.
and so it was nothing. But then still come back.
You're in and out, they're still in and out, don't you?
Yeah, often.
Tony, would you please tell me more about
Would you please tell me more about how to live?
About who?
How to live?
Well, no, I can't, because there isn't anybody that can choose to live in a certain way. There isn't, I can't tell you how to live, because there is no you who can choose to live. There's no free will or choice. There is no one that is living. There's only living. In the illusion of separation, in the story of me, there may be somebody who thinks that they have a choice and they have a way of living better or worse, it doesn't matter. But that's an illusion. There isn't anyone who can choose to live in a certain way. And there isn't a way to live. There isn't a better or worse way to live. There's only life. You're asking for a process, a teaching about how to live.
I don't know how to express it.
Well, it feels like what you're asking me is, can you tell me how to live? No, I can't, because there isn't anybody there to tell.
When you say that this oscillation between being and being is kind of awakening, I would gladly exchange this for just the me, because to me it seems in the meing there is no longing for the being, but the me seems to mobilize all its weapons. It reinforces like phobias or neurosis, too strong a word, but kind of this. So there is no longing. And for example, yesterday we were in Berlin where are all these people, and the me is shows kind of social phobia, because it seems to know at the moment it's within the people, the me disappears and it's just people, but the me does not seem to want this. It
doesn't want what?
The being. As
well,
long
no, the me doesn't want to. The me doesn't want to die.
Yeah, but you said when you had this awakening, there was this longing to get
but
this.
There was a longing before that, I have to say here.
Mm-hmm.
There was a longing for something that wasn't recognisable. There was no idea of what this was longing for. Well, after the glimpse, in the glimpse, which is no one has, then what is longed for becomes apparent. Afterwards, the me comes out and knows that something has happened which is wholeness, and longs again to be in that. But there was a longing before that happened, but not for anything recognisable. It's only that afterwards there's been the recognition of what was longed for, even though it wasn't there.
And there was no resistance within the me, but the opposite.
Huge. There was resistance, longing, frustration, everything. Awful. It's worse than being me before, because you didn't really know what you were longing for before. And also before, certainly here, there was a sense that seeking would get you there. Afterwards, there was still a sense that I should be in a certain way, but there wasn't quite the same energy of seeking as there was before. But being in the middle in awakening is the worst. But I was thinking about what you said yesterday about this could last all your life, being in awakening. I think when there's an opening to what is being communicated and not the words, then it's very unlikely that awakening can last very long. It might do. There's no guarantee, but I wish when I was in awakening I'd met the open secret message.
Although it wouldn't have helped.
It would have exposed one thing, and that is trying to live in the moment is a load of bullshit. And that's what I was trying to do. And that I would have at least come to understand that there was nothing I could do about trying to live in the moment. And also energetically, this is such a powerful communication. It's not anybody's energy. The me that is dancing in and out of meing and being dance is liable to collapse.
But until then, it's not quite a pleasure even for those around you.
What?
For me.
No.
Requires a kind of tolerance.
Yeah, you need a tolerant partner or...
Okay.
You're going to get two now. You can ask two questions at the same
time. Would it be possible to use the words in a less dualistic way?
In a less
dualistic way, with different grammar, different vocabulary. For example, not to say I am sitting, but there is sitting going on. Now, how describe it before the so-called I? The man with the blue shirt, or there is sitting with the man with the blue shirt, or did you think how to frame differently, to write a book or like this? For example, a French woman who is a feminist recently wrote a book, and in French we use a lot the masculine framing. And she used, of course, the feminine framing. Everything was she.
Yeah.
And in the same way, to try to abstract the me or we. And so one way would be to replace it by he, the third form, like the Buddhists said.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Advaita talk. It's called Advaita speak, and it's completely and utterly and wonderfully useless. You can actually join an Advaita speak club.
Yes.
That is on the website. I'm not sure what it's called. It might even be called that, but no, it isn't. It's called something awful. Can't remember what it is. Something like "not here, not now" or something. In it, you learn how to speak Advaita language. Like I'm not sitting on the floor.
It's a cushion. It's a cushion.
Yeah, no, it's not. I'm just saying.
It's the first question.
Yeah. It's quite, it's quite a powerful little club, and it's utterly wonderfully ridiculous. Because nobody's allowed to use anything other than there is sitting on a seat. If I said to Claire, well, this body has a headache, she said, well, piss off.
So it means it's better to stick to the good old language with I, me, myself.
There are times in the meetings you may have noticed when somebody might say something and I might then say, no, there is, people say to me, are you angry? And I do then say, no, but there is anger. So in that sense, then that's another way of seeing, what the idea you are angry can be seen in a different way. But if you start to use it in the way that they
Systematically.
do. It just becomes another obsession, really.
Yeah. So
It's,
no,
it's a process.
okay, so no way out.
There's no way out. There is, you know, the reality is that there is no way out, except death.
Yeah.
Extinction.
And did you try another form of language, which is mimicking, making gestures? For example, me and or to mimic the emptiness.
No, there's nothing.
Somebody asks you something and you say.
That could mean all sorts of things.
Well, at least it makes people less serious. It's already one step.
There's nothing here trying to get anywhere, so there's nothing here trying. When
Singing.
this first started singing, not if I sing, you'd all leave. When this first started talking, almost within the first meeting, it was absolutely realised that whatever I said, for some people, if they wanted it to be, it would always be confusing. So from then on, there was a total giving up of the idea of not confusing people.
And when you speak the language that we still speak, is it a big laughter for you because we are using? Is it disturbing or? Is it disturbing?
No, it's gorgeous. I love it all. This is fucking gorgeous. I could, if you want to, we could go on for the rest of today and all of tonight.
Okay.
And tomorrow. Oh, I could just go on with this all day and night. It's just heavenly. It's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. It's amazing. I think it's stunning. It's look.
Well, especially with such a sexy body, yes.
Well, of course, as well. Good looking, sexy, sexual undertow. What more do you want?
Tony, are you familiar with direct pointing?
With
Direct pointing?
direct pointing?
Yeah.
No. I'm familiar with another thing called the direct approach, which amuses me highly. There's a whole set of people now who call themselves non-dual teachers. There is no such thing, because you can't teach non-duality. But they call themselves, that they use the direct approach. So what I don't comprehend is, if there is only what is, including walking, how can you approach what is? Because as you approach it, that is what is already. Where is it? Is it in some sort of beautiful pink cloud somewhere? I don't get it. You can't approach this. It is already. How can you approach that which is already everything? So what's direct pointing?
I'm not all that familiar with it yet. I was just wondering, because you seem to refer to communicating something that points to something that cannot be described.
Yeah.
So there also seems to be a pointing towards something there. And I came across this, it's called Liberation Unleashed.
Oh God, that sounds really good.
Really radical,
Unleashed.
sexy.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. Like it happens all of a sudden. And they use questions that would seem to, keep pushing you to look. look, where's the eye? Look, is it really there?
Oh,
look,
that's
look, look.
self-inquiry.
Ah,
Sorry.
got it. Yeah. I'm more than happy.
It's not liberation unleashed, it's liberation imprisoned.
And
So right, similar to direct approach.
very much, I can feel it energetically. It requires an effort again.
Oh,
It
no
requires
question,
doing
yes.
something and automatically.
Oh,
So to me,
absolutely. There has to be a choice to ask where the eye is. Yeah. It's actually self-inquiry. It's wrapped up in a different thing. It's a bit like The Secret. You know The Secret in America? The Secret? That's actually a copy of something that was going on 40 years ago with rebirthing. When rebirthing became a popular therapy, then part of the structure of rebirthing, and I can't remember who was the originator of it, there was a belief that in somewhere or other when you were born, you took on a belief about yourself, not obviously in words because you were too young, but emotionally you adopted some idea of what you were like. So if you learn to breathe correctly, you can deal with that wrong belief, let's put it that way, by using a different belief. It's called affirmation. So you then use this correct breathing, which is circular breathing, and you go on affirming what you previously thought was wrong with. In other words, nobody loves me. You now breathe in a circle, and you constantly say, everybody loves me. Everybody loves me. And not only that, it's quite sophisticated, but you didn't just say it, you actually felt it too. So you were breathing in the circle, and you felt that everybody loved you. And in some way or other, this shifted, energy away from the belief of not being loved into the energy of being loved. And now The Secret in America has copied exactly the same thing. So what they're saying in The Secret is that you have a set of belief systems and we can help you change them. I am not rich, I am very wealthy, all that stuff. I don't know where we're going with this, do you? No. It's the same thing, what I'm trying to say is that people get hold of an idea like self-inquiry and then call it liberation unleashed. It's a copy of a process, which is completely and utterly futile.
Tony, and the energetic changes which happens in rebirthing, or it's all in a dream. These are energetic.
Yeah, there is no such thing as liberation or a seeker or contracted energy or even boundless energy. They're just a description of something that can't be known. So there is nothing that happens. There isn't liberation that actually happens.
Yeah.
But that's not recognised until there's no one there. Suddenly it's recognised there never was a Tony Parsons and there wasn't a liberation. All there is this. Is that alright?
Yeah, but yes, I get it. Me, but because the me is an energetic. The me is an energetic.
But only apparently.
Apparently.
Everything is only apparent.
Yeah. And in the apparent energy,
yeah.
Things can change, but it's all apparently in the dream.
It's all an appearance of energy. But let's go right back to the beginning, although there isn't one, and that is energy. Apparent energy is only no thing. So all there is here is no thing. There's no thing here. So
Tony, when you say there is no thing, you mean from the physical point of view, from the scientific point of view also, because it's just energy vibrating.
Well, scientists, because they come from the sense of the story, because they are me, scientists in a story, will call no thing dark matter or dark energy. They have to make it a something, because they live in some things, so they call no thing, which they don't really want to know about. They call it something called dark energy. But this doesn't come from any particular genre. There just is no thing. This is no thing. And those are words, of course. But even the words no thing are no thing.
The physical things, the body, for example, the body exists.
The body is no thing.
Okay.
Appearing to be a body.
Okay, appearing.
But it isn't no thing then appearing to be a body. It is no thing appearing to be a body. They are simultaneous. They are the one. There is only the one, which is no thing.
I'm wondering about the issue of free will.
Free will?
Yeah. So what makes one decide to go left or right?
Oh, the dream that you are a person choosing to go left or right. It's a dream. It's a myth. It's an energetic construct which appears to be someone choosing to go left or right. And when the me, which is in the dream, chooses to go left or right, it dreams or believes or feels that it is making that choice. Whereas actually the apparent choice to go left or right, which of course never really happens, but the apparent choice to go left or right is already made in the brain. So the brain, let's say, appears, the brain, which is no thing braining, appears to choose to go left, only appears to choose to go left. And then about 3 or 4 seconds after that, the me is told that you're going to go left, and the me then thinks that it has made that decision and puts a flag up saying, I've chosen to go left. So when somebody asks you if you'd like tea or coffee, you, who you think you are, the me, the brain has a committee meeting. And the time in which that takes place is, you couldn't even get near, it's immeasurably. But in that committee meeting, they decide, is tea a good idea at the moment? Is that healthy? Would coffee be more, what do you think about tea? And then it's, okay, tea. And then it calls in me to the committee meeting, and it says, I want you to announce to the world that you're going to have tea. No, and that's happening right now at this moment, constantly. The brain is doing all of it. Nothing else is. But the brain is no thing. Brain. So in the end, it's no thing appearing to do. But in the dream of me, then the me is absolutely certain that it lives in the real world, it is real, and its free will and choice is real, and what it does is real. And it can choose to make its life better, and that's the awful dilemma. And it thinks it can do anything, including making a lot of money and also becoming enlightened. It's very sweet.
How come that different brains make come to different conclusions after the committee meeting?
Because in all, they only appear to be different. In another way, you could say there are 7.2 billion realities on the planet. Each reality seems to function in its own unique way, but all of it is only no thing, appearing to be there. You know, this is utter genius. This is astounding what's going on. And what's beautiful about it is that the whole of it is completely meaningless. There.
In your books, I think you used the expression the divine.
Yes.
And I had a look also at the book by Richard Sylvester. He's using the expression the grace. Grace.
Grace.
Grace. Grace.
Oh, Grace. We all know Grace here. She's quite a girl. Yeah.
So, is this contradiction or not in contradiction with what you were saying?
Well, most of my books have very deep contradictions in them. I wouldn't even suggest you read them.
But since
I could try the bus.
I've done it partially, so now.
So the word divine in that sense was not meant in a spiritual way, actually. The word divine is divine, not divine.
Yeah, but
I use the word beloved sometimes too. I love that word, beloved. Don't you? The beloved.
But so your divine is not causing things to happen.
No. It's not a Christian divine. It's a Tony Parsons divine.
Well, so
there is no grace, as far as I'm concerned. I would never use the word grace, because there isn't anything out there looking down upon you and seeing you as worthy and giving you love or anything. There's nothing out there. There is nothing out there. There ain't nothing out there. So there isn't anything that would, give you grace or however.
okay.
This is horrible, this message.
I don't know. It's just learning the. Okay.
Is it working?
I mean, liberation isn't grace for the individual. For the individual, liberation is deeply bad.
Is it a renunciation?
It's awful.
Hi. I have a weird experience at the moment. It's like that there's
part of my mind is like kind of struggling to make, you know, to kind of get back to making sense or something, or like come up with like an intelligent question, or like, you know, like, yeah, it's kind of working, causing me kind of like to have some kind of tension, like an experience of tension in the head. And at the same time, there's like just some kind of like, it's almost like a little bit of a blankness or something, like like it doesn't make sense.
No.
Anyway, you know, whatever I can come up with, it doesn't matter. You know?
No, it doesn't.
Completely.
No, it doesn't. There's no such thing as an intelligent question.
Yeah.
But, you know, there aren't any questions. Why would there be? But the blankness is maybe like an emptiness. A nothingness, or...
I can't even say really, it's like I can't...
That's what's happening.
Yeah. I mean, every description would be kind of a little bit misleading. Like, it's in some way, it's a little bit like some kind of dullness, and at the same time, it's some kind of like openness. Or
Is the way reality, or what looks like reality, is organized or organizing itself a little bit like in the Kafka novels. So there is no reason, things are happening. Generally, it's from the bad to the worst.
Yes.
And at the end, everything is down. And what is the problem is that people don't understand why it happens.
Yes.
But it happens.
Yeah.
And this happening is very nasty and
it's like Cormac
painful.
McCarthy, is it Cormac, or one of those, the American writer? It's absolutely awful and hopeless.
Yeah. And it's fascinating.
Yes.
Do you see a relationship between this model and your model?
I do see a sort of similarity, yes. In a way, I see a similarity. And it is fascinating because there's also something else there.
For sure. So, would you say that in one way, Kafka is non-dual?
No, because he's limited. There's a limitation to the way he writes, in that he basically his writing is invested in a total negativity. And so is Cormac McCarthy.
But so your model would be an anti-Kafka model, but still a Kafka model. So your model would be an anti-Kafka model, but still a Kafka model.
No. There isn't a model.
No, but you see what I mean? If Kafka was not orientated towards more negativity, so let's imagine it would be oriented towards more positivity. Would it be a little? No.
So there is absolutely no hope, but there is coffee.